Hello there. You probably had a journey getting to this video. It's not everybody that, or everybody and anybody that wants to learn how to create visuals or art in a three-dimensional world. So this first course that I have recorded and put on my YouTube channel will be a multi-video course of firstly explaining what we are going to do and why we are going to do it, and then proceeding to model a disposable lighter, but on a method that I've never come across in other tutorials, where we place an already built model as the reference planes in the background at the bottom and to the right. But first, what we are going to do is, I'm not going to teach you all of these things beforehand. Most tutorials will go and tell you that. You don't need those things because you want to create something right now so that you can get hooked on this application or any other application. We'll be using MODO. I only use MODO. And there's others that's 3ds Max, Houdini, and Maya, and Blender is for free. And all of them, the end goal is the same. To create an object from those lines that you always see and have no clue how people get to them. I'm quickly going to open up a model that I've built, and to use that just quickly to extract what I'm going to talk to you about and show you, so that you also can more easily grasp what it is that you're actually going to be doing. Take this model, for example. There's a few of these objects that consists of these lines. So let's take this sleeve of the bottle and we cut this little part out. That one box, you'll see every one of these lines forms a quad square, a square that has not a square, a rectangular or a four-sided shape. There's no triangles in. There's nothing wrong with triangles. Some people, you will see models with triangles, but all of my tutorials will be quads to not only help you get a bigger brain by figuring out how to get your quads into your shapes, but also to make anyone very easily animatable. So let's take one of these blocks. So it's got 4 lines around it, and I'm going to remove it from there and move it out. So how we build this object is to, or any other object, a monster you see on TV or a rendering of a cell phone, it's a bunch of these little flat surfaces that are connected to each other. And the closer they are, the more detail they can give you. So you will be essentially learning how to move and add more of these things on your item that you are busy working with. So now I did something, and now I've got 2 of them connected to each other. And this thing, you can, at the end of the day, you'll be able to split it up in certain ways and manipulate it to give it as much detail as your imagination ever could dream of doing. So I'm taking another piece and I'm bringing it out like that. So you'll see it's like a bunch of these lines that are, this is the backside, so you can't see it. It's just a bunch of these lines that's connected, that's forming a shape. And at the end, you'll be rounding it. And the roundness I'm just pressing tab, and the computer is doing that smoothing. So it's almost like learning to drive a car. At the beginning, it's going to be weird. But after a while, you figure out that you can change the way that that smoothing behaves. So what we'll be doing essentially is, as I said, we'll be learning how to stitch all of these things together. See if I move this one now, for example. Everything is moving. I can, like a piece of material, I can use a scissor and I can cut I can cut these things and I can join them up again. And the bit you see now, it's separated from that side. It's not connected there anymore. But I can reconnect it again by using the correct tool. Now when I click that and I rotate it, it's once again connected at the bottom to that side. So do not start your journey with 3D trying to understand all of this. Try and build shapes by stitching pieces of these things together. Rigid bodies like this is very easy to do because there's procedural shapes that can help you. So do not start with trying to make a little organic character or the like. So I'm going to go back to a different project, and we are going to make just a little gingerbread man, a very small gingerbread man. Okay, if you hold Control in and you press the space button, you can change from where you see. So you can see from the top, and then it's a perfect orthographic view from the top, or from the right, or from the bottom. They all look the same. Or the perspective, you've got a camera in here. This is what they use to move around in the scene, to take the movies and to record everything. And it's the view of the renderings that you take. So there's the camera. Let's just put it on that we can see it. There. It's a camera. Okay? And it's in my 3D space. We can view through that camera easily by also Control and then space, and then we click on camera. Now we're seeing through that. Control space, perspective. So let's put a box down there so that I can prove this to you. Now I'm going back to the camera. There we can see the box. So the little gingerbread man, it's going to be very simple. It's not going to be rounded or anything detaily. I'm going to delete this and do this again. You need to ensure that you've got a mesh item. Always select it on a mesh item. So if you don't have one, add item, mesh. If there's nothing in the mesh, if there's it's like an empty drawer, it will have a grayed out. You see, those are not grayed out. This is grayed out. All right. So hold Control in, press space, and then go to the top view. And then use that guy to just draw, let's say, the torso of your gingerbread man. Like so. Now we'll be cutting this thing to have the legs come out and the arms come out. So I'm using edge, add loop tool. We'll cut along there. I'll hold shift in to do another cut. I'll cut along there, and I'll shift in to do another cut. Now I will be just bringing those two closer together. So this is just a flat piece of that square thing that I extracted from that Worcester sauce bottle that we saw earlier. It doesn't have any thickness. So I'm going to press 1 on my keyboard to select these things, these points. Or you can go there. And we can do one of 3 things to stuff inside of the scene. I'm going back to perspective. We can use the W key, or when you go to basic, this guy, the move along an axis, and you can move things. You can move points. You can move polygons or faces. I'll use those words interchangeably. Or you can move lines. Let's just get this back to baseline. The second thing you can do, if you press E on your keyboard, let's just select another polygon. If you press E on your keyboard or go to your basic tab on your model model work front, it's this guy. And this is the scale, the rotate manipulator. These handles, each one of them is on an axis, the top, the side, and the other side. If I grab this green line and I turn it with my mouse, it turns the polygon in that axis, or in that axis, or in that axis. This will be the same for lines and for vertices. Vertices will not do anything if you do this to them with either this or the scale tool. Vertices only respond if one vertex is selected, only responds to the move tool. If I select one vertex and I try to scale it with, this is the other thing you can do with items, is make them bigger or smaller. You can't scale a vertex 1, but you can scale 2. I mean, it just makes, if you think about it with common sense, it just makes sense. It's logical. So to use the scale manipulator, let's say I press 3, or again go to polygons to select that polygon. Before you can select the polygon of an item, you need to ensure that you've got that item selected. You can press 5 on your keyboard, or go to items and just click on it. Then you can press 3 and then select the faces, or press 1 and select the vertices. So I'm going to I'm not going to go into further detail about all of those tools. We'll use them, and I'll explain how I use them while I use them, and you'll get to grips with them. So I want to scale these two. Again, if you want to scale one vertex, you ain't going to do anything. You have to have 2 selected. So I'm going to scale them in, and that will bring them automatically closer together. So I press the shift button to drop that tool, and I press 2 or edges and select that guy and that guy. Now I'm going to go to edge and say extend, or press the Z key and click on one of them. Use that to drag it down. Now it's basically just pulling from that line another line, and from that one another one. I want to have feet, so I'm going to use that add loop around edges again. First you need to have the item selected and not faces or anything else, and just put a line there, press shift to do another one, and put one in there. Now I'm going to press 2 to select edges. I'm going to select that one, that one, that one, and that one. Now I'm going to press Z again to extend those, and I'm going to use the scale. So I'm going to press R on my keyboard, and I'm going to scale these out. I'm going to press shift, and now I don't want to change the feet anymore. So I'm holding control in, and with the middle mouse button I'm dragging all around to deselect those. I'm pressing R again to bring up the widget to scale, and I'll be scaling them out. Now press shift to drop all of those tools. Select the item again and click on the edge for the neck part. Press Z or go to extend, click on it and drag it out a bit. Press shift to do another cut without going through the whole start again. So hold shift in and click on it, and then you drag out all the way to the top of the head. Now we want to give this head a little bit of thickness. So I click on the one edge, I hold shift in, I click on the other one, I press Z, I click on them, and now I'm going to scale them out. Now I press R and then scale them out. It's not really a gingerbread man. I don't know why I said a gingerbread man, but anyway, I'm going to add lines. We're not going to change. What you see now will stay the same, but we're going to model. So there's things that you do on the basic shape that you have in the beginning. You always start with a greater, bigger shape. Then you start adding lines. You do not draw everything like kind of alright and then do a lot of detail on the head. You refine the whole thing as a piece of marble that you will be sculpting. I'm going to select this whole object. I'm going to add a loop there. I'm going to hold shift and I'm going to add another loop there. Again with shift, I'm going to add one there. Shift there, there, and there. And I'm going to do this at the feet again. I dropped that tool accidentally. Add loop. Click there, and I think we should not do that. It's going to change the head. So there we have our very basic gingerbread man. We'll just be thickening it up quickly a bit to make it a little bit more realistic, and then we're done with the basics of how we're going to make the models with polygons that we stitch together, and we all keep them all square. So I double click with 3 selected polygons. I double click on any one of them and it selects all of them. And then we'll go to polygons and then thicken, and then we click on what we want to thicken. Now we drag it up and it will have volume to it. So that is our very, very, very basic gingerbread man, and it would be easy to reproduce. And I recommend, before you go on with this course, try to get your own little thing modeled out by using the tools that you just learned. Let's first go to the camera and click on this and rotate it with the E button. Then I press W again for moving it. Let's move it back a bit, and let's just do that a bit. And I'm going to go there and click on full. Now it will give you a little bit of a cooler look with shadows and so on to get you inspired to go ahead. Hope you enjoyed this. Please watch the next one, and don't forget to click on like and subscribe to this channel, please.